After the top of the hour, we're visiting with Bill Salos, radio show host, conference speaker, best-selling author of Psalm 83, The Missing Prophecy Revealed, How Israel Becomes the Next Mid-East Superpower, and his latest book, Nuclear Showdown in Iran, Revealing the Ancient Prophecy of Elam. Bill, you know, I want to get into your book a little bit more. I want to talk about the biblical significance and what the Bible has to say about Iran's future. But I think people would be really surprised to really see what is happening spiritually in Iran, because you have this dynamic of Christians versus Muslims, and I think people are going to be shocked to hear that Christianity is thriving and growing rapidly within the borders of Iran.
Well, that's the whole backstory to my book. The book is called Nuclear Showdown in Iran, but also there's a spiritual showdown going on in Iran between Christianity and Islam. And Iran is the number one growing evangelical population in the world, growing at a rate of 19.6% per year. Compare that to America's growth rate of evangelism at 0.08%. Mm-hmm. So there's dreams, there's visions, there's miracles, there's healings that are coming to these Iranians that are living in hopeless conditions. Many of them are extremely concerned about this nuclear issue that's going on there. And that phenomena is spreading throughout the Middle East. It's happening in the Syrian refugee camps.
Right.
So the amazing harvest that's going on in the Middle East in those hopeless conditions is amazing, you know.
Yeah. And people need to understand, Bill, this would not happen if there wasn't a discernible difference in people's lives. I mean, this is the blind man seeing the kind of miracles, the kind of changes that are happening in people's life. It's that kind of thing that's occurring in the lives of former Muslims, isn't it?
It really is, and this type of thing over there is what it takes for these individuals to come to know Jesus Christ, and the thing the phenomena that's amazing to me is that, you know, God wishes that none would perish, but all would come to have everlasting life. That's why he sent his only begotten Son. So he is doing whatever he has to do in this urgent final hour to reach out, roll up his sleeves, pour out his Holy Spirit through dreams, visions, healings, and miracles, and bring people to him one at a time. But they're coming in multitudes over there, and it's an amazing phenomenon. However, the phenomenon is growing so out of control over there that the Ayatollah came out a couple of years ago with an edict that said that they must close all home churches, imprison all pastors, and persecute all Christians. So if you go and you're preaching the gospel over there right now, you will be thrown in jail. And there was a time, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, where if you had 8 or 2-year sentence, you could get an attorney and maybe get it commuted. But now if you have get imprisoned, you get an attorney, he goes to jail with you, and your 2-year sentence is 8 years, and in some cases it's execution. I mean, we're talking about a very severe situation just to show you how this is becoming such a problem for the Iranian mullahs over there. It's
exactly.
Just amazing, Bill.
Well, they just can't hold it back. Bill, again, for the sake of time, and we do this all the time, you and I, we go into this and we say we really need, all 2 hours of Bill Martinez Live, but we're going to have to make some time here in terms of Jeremiah 49, the prophecy of Elam. Explain to our audience what that means.
Yeah, real briefly, about 2,600 years ago, the prophet Jeremiah wrote a prophecy very specific to Iran, specific to a certain area in Iran, and that area is ancient Elam, which is where the Bushehr nuclear reactor is in Iran today. It's the crown jewel of Iran's nuclear program. It is a 40-year-old facility with a 30-year-old cooling system, and no one trained there to handle a nuclear disaster. It is built where 3 tectonic plates converge. It is a nuclear disaster in the making. It is loaded with Russian fuel rods, which at the time when it was loaded in August of 2010, former UN Ambassador John Bolton said, Israel, if it strikes that facility, will create a nuclear disaster over there, and it is a strategic target. And the Jeremiah prophecy talks about a strike in that area that leads to a humanitarian crisis where the exiles are sent to all the different nations of the world. We're talking about something very vast, and we're talking about it happening at a time when there's bad leadership in place. Bad leadership wants to launch something somewhere. This prophecy is very specific. It's a short prophecy, and I cover it in great depth in my book, Nuclear Showdown. I will say one last thing, too. the biblical view that your listeners are getting right now, and this prophecy, I think, has to do with what we're dealing with, and Netanyahu will be talking about, although he will be talking about it from a political perspective. We're going to be introducing this on TBN on March 2nd, Praise the Lord show with Perry Stone and Jonathan Kahn. Mm-hmm. And we're going to spend 2 hours talking about the Shemitah year. We're going to talk about Iran's prophecy here and the next day, on March 3rd, Benjamin Netanyahu will be speaking. So there'll be hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of Americans who will watch Benjamin Netanyahu, who will also have the biblical view from your show right now and this TBN Praise the Lord program on March 2nd.
Wow, what a perfect lead-in for that, Bill. Bill, how imminent is this?
Well, I believe from when I study this prophecy right now and I'm seeing the geopolitical things that are going on right now, I do believe this could be an event that we could wake up one morning and there could be missiles flying in from Israel striking Iran's nuclear facility. They were waiting for two primary things. That was the midterm elections to sway Republican and the last deadline, November 24th, 2014, to come up empty. And now they're looking at the barrel of a gun from Iran, if you will call it that, ICBMs and everything, where it looks like Obama's administration is wanting to craft a deal that Israel will not accept. And they may craft that deal as soon as this month. And I would not be shocked if the Israel strike at any given time. They struck Syria in 2007. They struck Iraq in 1981. They will not allow a country like that to have a nuclear weapon.
Bill, how are you seeing the nuclear program of Iran tied into this prophecy?
Well, because it says that the prophecy is going to break the bow of Elam at the foremost of its might, Elam being this Persian Gulf area right there with Iran. And it says that the four winds from the four quarters of heaven will be brought forward, and they will be scattered toward all those winds. So the affected population, the indigenous population, as a result of this judgment, is going to be scattered. And it says there'll be no nation where the outcasts of Elam don't go. They will be scattered to every country. It's not like what we're seeing in Syria right now with that revolution where you've got several million displaced in pockets of neighboring countries. This is a worldwide dispersion necessitated by whatever happens when the foe is broken at the foremost of its might. And it's where that Bashar nuclear reactor is. And Russia has signed contracts with Iran for 2 more of those that they're going to try to put together in 2015, this year. Israel's not going to sit by, in my estimation, idly. And you're going to hear Netanyahu coming on forcefully on March 3rd talking about why Israel is going to probably have to strike. He won't say he's going to strike, but he's probably going to give you every reason why they're going to have to strike. And I think this is what we might wake up to one nearby morning.
Bill, do you sense that with everything that's happening geopolitically, that it really is out of the hands of the world's leaders, that God has full control of this, and this is unfolding exactly as he said it would?
I do believe so. The Lord has given the international community 66 years since Israel became a nation to try to figure this out, but they have made it worse. And the enemies of Israel are more armed and dangerous. They're more out of control with ISIS and you name it, Hezbollah and Iran's nuclear program. It's out of control. Nothing good has happened for Israel since the Arab Spring, except the fact that Israel in general is getting more united and understand they're on their own.
Well, Bill Salos has been our guest. Bill, thank you as always. This is Bill Martinez. We're live.